Hey guys, welcome to a cold episode of Cars, Computers, and K9s. Today we're going to be installing security cameras on the house. Let's get started. So I bought 4 security cameras for the house. I've already installed a couple of them. There's one right there. These are Amcrest 4K Power over Ethernet security cameras. I'll have the model in the link description, but these are real nice. They have a pretty wide field of view. So that one right there covers to the end of that garage there, this whole entire patio area, and about to the edge of that garage door. It's got a pretty wide viewing angle to cover this whole area. And I got another one on the corner of the house that only slightly overlaps this one and covers part of the backyard. Today we're going to work on the front of the house. We're going to put one right there in that corner and one all the way over there in that corner. So that far corner is going to cover my side yard, and this one is going to cover my driveway and this whole area right here. Now the front of the house is actually covered by that doorbell camera. It's another 4K Amcrest camera. I don't like the Google Nest or any of that stuff. So first thing I gotta do is I have a siding house, which means that my eaves are all siding. Now if you have a brick house, odds are these are pieces of wood that you'll just drill a hole into. This siding here is real brittle and flimsy, so I can't screw anything in there. Another problem I have is this downspout. It's going to be in the way of the camera view if I ever turn it that direction. So I can't really mount it to this post, which is wood, because of the downspout in the way. Depending on your house, maybe you can. But right here on the very edge is this metal piece of siding coverage. This you can screw into if you're real careful, and I'll show you how to do that. Because underneath here there's a little bit of wood higher up that the screws can secure to, so the camera will be mounted well. And this actually helps me because this little gap right here, we can shove the cord up in that gap without having to drill through it and possibly break the siding. So we're going to start by using fish tape. So all this is, it's a roll of metal tape, and it helps us so we can feed wire. I'm going to feed this through the gap in the siding. Once I get enough of it up there, we're going to go to the attic and pull it through. And that way we have a nice solid line we can run our cord. Okay, we're up in the attic. Quick tip when you're up in the attic, make sure your feet always lands on these exposed little rafters. There's usually going to be one every 18 to 24 inches. If you have a newer house, you may not be able to see it under all the insulation, but they're there. Whatever you do, don't put your weight in between any of those, because all that is there is sheetrock, drywall, and you'll put your foot right through it, and in the worst case, you'll fall all the way through and hurt yourself. So just keep that in mind when you're running around in the attic. And one last tip before we venture on is to wear your mask in the attic. Not because there's coronavirus up here, but because it's really dusty and horrible, and you'll be hacking and coughing, especially if you got to crawl around up here. So wear your mask when you're in the attic. While I'm up here, I might as well show you real quick the setup I have. So the goal is to get Ethernet cable to this box, which is the PoE Power over Ethernet injector. This allows you to power and do network with just one cable, the Ethernet. Now what I did is I got a big box of this cable. I think I got 500 feet. And Cat 5e, I know Cat 6 is the latest one, but this was cheaper, and this is just for cameras. I don't need anything crazy, and I'm not running really long distances. One thing you do want to make sure though, when you're getting this cable, don't buy the cheapest one. You need to buy the kind that has solid copper cord, because you need that for the power over Ethernet. One thing to save us on the number of trips we're going to take, I'm going to go ahead and run this cable. Now these boxes are nice because they have like a little feed thing, so you can just kind of pull this out freely. and we're going to take it with us as we go to the back corner of the attic. Alright, so unfortunately I did not get lucky. This happens a lot with the fish tape. It just kind of gets coiled up even when you feed a lot of it through. I'm going to try to crawl over there and grab it because we're pretty close anyway. So wish me luck. Hopefully I don't fall through. So there we go. We got the fish line all the way up here. We got our cord all the way up here. The main problem is I forgot electrical tape, which is what I need to wrap that around the fish tape to actually pull it through. So I guess we're making another trip.
2 hours later.
Let's get the load up. Perfect. Alright, the next thing we need to do is to put a connector on the end of this. Now, the only tool you need for this is one of these. I don't know honestly what it's called. I just know it's a Ethernet cable end crimper. It's actually got one for phone lines too, if you for whatever reason still use phone lines. But basically we got to put this on the end of this. So first we got to strip this outer layer over here. Also, if your end's all beat up, if you were pulling it through, go ahead and just cut off the beat up end and go down a little bit more. There you go. And just kind of put it to that end right there. Come down, twist a little bit. And that'll expose the wire. So inside an Ethernet cord are 4 twisted pairs: orange, green, blue, and brown. So there's a blue and a blue-white, an orange and orange-white. We're going to separate all these cords. Also, you might have one of these little rip cords in here. You can just cut that extra little bit off. It's okay if you can't or anything. It's just nice to get it out of the way. But we're going to untwist these pairs, and then we're going to get them in order so that way they'll go into this end connector. Now there's plenty, if you just search pictures, Ethernet cable wiring, there's all kinds of diagrams that show you the order. There's actually 2 different ones. Both work exactly the same way as long as you do both ends the same way. So I know it by memory because I've done this too many times, so I'm going to show you. So you're going to start with orange-white, go orange, then you're going to go green-white, and this is where it gets tricky. Instead of going to green, you're going to go to blue. Why it's like that, I don't know. Then blue-white, and then come back to green, brown-white, and then brown. And now what you're going to do, it's kind of tricky, but you're going to get them all to where they're kind of all facing in the same direction, staying in the right order. Usually if you just kind of manipulate them with your fingers a little bit, you can get them to where they're nice, all flat and in line. Once you've got these flat and in line, we need to cut the top so that way they're all the same length. Now make sure you've got them in the right order as you're doing this, because sometimes they'll get switched around. Remember, orange, white, orange, green, white, blue, blue, white, green, brown, white, brown. Take our crimper, take this end, like I said, make sure everybody stays in the right order. Come down, put that right there. So you're going to cut them off so they're all about the same length. Once you've got them all the same length, you're going to take your connector. All these are the same length. You're going to very carefully slip this in, and then push it till it bottoms out. So once you got that slid on, you can also check the ends. Depending on the connector, it should be clear so you can see everything's bottomed out, and you can also check that all the colors are in the correct. You can check that all the colors are in the correct order as well. Once you've verified all that, you'll put it into your crimp tool, crimp it down, and now you've got an Ethernet cord end ready for the camera. One extra tool that will make your life easier is this Ethernet patch cable tester. Basically what it does is it sends a signal through every single pin with a little light. Right now it's not doing anything because I got to plug in the other end. And once you have both ends plugged in, it'll test every single pin. So this is a great thing to have. I'm going to go do the other end and I'll show you on the other end kind of how the lights work. Alright, here's a good look at this tester. As you can see, it's blinking once through each one of the lights, all the way to 8. But if you've got your lights, if they're blinking out of order, or if one light isn't on, our cable looks good, so I think we're ready to hook this in to the PoE injector and then hook the other end into the camera. The camera I like to use Amcrest cameras. They're pretty easy to set up. They can be a little clunky on their interface, but they're fairly inexpensive. You can use it with Blue Iris and all that type of software, and you don't have to get a subscription or any of that cloud stuff like a lot of Nest security cameras and stuff like that have. So we've got 4K, it's got night vision, all weather, all kinds of good stuff. I got a link in the description. They're on Amazon. I've used different Amcrest cameras for years. These seem just as good quality. And you'll also notice that Scotty decided to help me open this one. It also has an SD card slot, so if you don't want to get a DVR or set up your computer to do it, you can just have it record to a regular micro SD card. The big thing is if you're getting an SD card for surveillance cameras, you want to get one of these fancy endurance memory cards that are designed for dash cams and surveillance cameras. I have one of these in my car on my dash cam, and cars get hot and cold all the time. It's gone 4 years and it's still going. Okay, so we got the camera. Right now we're going to bench test it. Basically we're going to hook it up without attaching it to the wall, just so that we can make sure it works. Okay, so Amcrest has an app where you can add your device. Now there's a way that you can scan it and everything else, but if you've got it hooked up to your network, you can hit search device. When you do connection type, P2P, the first option allows you to access the camera from anywhere. They have a little network, or they have a server that basically tells the app where your camera's located. Or if you're just going to be in your internal network, you can do this IP, which is what I like to do when I'm setting it up. So password default is admin. When you hit start live view, it's going to have you change your camera's password. And when you hit modify password, it'll then show you the output of your camera. And see, I'm over here moving it around. There I am on the phone. So we know it's working. Now we can go ahead and hook it up. So your camera also comes with this bag of stuff that you may not know what exactly it's for, but this is actually to waterproof and secure the connection, because unfortunately this comes out pretty easy. You don't have to use much effort to unplug it. So what this does is it waterproofs the connection and it makes it secure. So I'll kind of show you how to put that on, because oddly enough it's not in the manual how to set this up. This cap goes on the cord. It's wide enough where you can slide it on. This is going to end up being the cap that this will go on. Next is this little insulator thing. It actually separates into two, so you can put that on next on your cord. Now we got this little cap thing, and you're going to put it with the little spindly end in here. Inside this cap, you'll notice there's little cutouts. This allows you to slip the cord on, but when you twist it, it makes it to where it doesn't come out. So now that we've got everything assembled, push this little rubber thing into that cap area where the little spine things are. And then you can bring this down. We're going to bring this down once we have this plugged in. So just have it like that. Then you're going to plug this in and then hold it. Make sure that it's nice and secure. You're going to push this down to cover, and then this just snaps and snugs on. And you can push the cord down at the end to make sure that everything's nice and tight. Last, you're going to take this cap, push it over the top. Like I said, check that cable periodically, make sure it's still snug in there, and then twist it on. Until it bottoms out, and there you go. Nice and waterproof, and it won't pull loose. Now, if you had wood up here, you could actually put this on first to drill the big hole in the center for the wire, and then do all the fishing that we did earlier. But since I've got this metal siding, I got to use it last, because I'm going to put the camera right here, drill little holes in each of these spots, and then put those screws in. If you've got wood, you can use the anchors and drill them that way, but since I got these little metal pieces right here, I'm going to screw into this metal piece. Our holes. Real quick. Perfect. First. Okay, so looking at our app, we can see kind of the view, and then you can kind of adjust it how you need. Now, I already have that area by the garage doors over there pretty well covered. What I really want is the driveway over here, so I'm going to twist this over. Yeah, kind of like that. When you get it in the place you want, you can kind of screw that in a little bit and then make your finer adjustments. Now, you probably don't need it way up in the air, so you can kind of come down. That way you make sure you have a good coverage area. And that's pretty much all there is to it. That'll do it for today's episode of Cars